It's live. Yay. Okay. It's so funny because you're like clicking things and then all of a sudden you're live and you don't know. So you don't want to just sit here with like an awkward smile. But I am here. Welcome, everybody. I don't even know what day it is today. It's been a wild week over here in the Feld household. Let me check my volume. My little guy was sick and we had to do an ER visit, which was not fun. And then I was sick yesterday. So we're just rolling. This is just from the heart today. If you're here live, which I'm realizing now it's right 10 o'clock, so or 11 a.m. Eastern. If you're here live, say hello. Drop your name in the chat. Tell me where you're logging in from. That's just nice to get another verification that this is actually happening in real life and not just in my own mind. So let me double check and I'll share the link to the place. I will share the link into the event so that people can find it here. Yay! Okay, I see myself and I see two eyeballs, and one of those is probably me. So we'll give a sec for people to log on, but if you're watching, go ahead and say hello. I have my coffee. I hope you do too. And I'm gonna boom, put this in the group and pretend like I am a pro at this when I'm still very much learning. Join me live or catch the replay here. Booyah. Okay, that'll definitely make it easier for folks to hop on. I see a comment. Hi, Amy. Hi, Beverly. Yay. I see other folks coming on. Okay, cool. I am excited for this. And of course, this is like prime therapy time. So we always have the replay for people to catch afterwards. But this is one of my most favorite topics. Of course, I love intensives. I'm obsessed. And marketing is also something that I love. I'm going to share a little bit about my marketing journey. But if you don't know, I'm a copywriter and a copy coach, and I've been able to meet tons and tons and tons of amazing therapists inside Anna Walker's program, Confident Copy. So I'm an alumni of that program. I've been partnering with Anna and learning from her for a little bit here. So I'd like to think I know a thing or two about marketing, but that was absolutely not the case when I got started. Big time not the case. Okay. So I have slides because, like a true ADHD, lovely person, I will not stay focused unless something or someone is keeping me focused. So let's do that thing. And oh, yay, I see other folks joining on. Please drop a little comment in the chat just to let me know who you are, where you're logging on from, and all that good stuff. Okay, so gotta do one thing before I share, which is to pull up my slides. And then we will be ready to roll. Boom. Present. Okay, so today we are talking about marketing therapy intensives. And I hear people all the time, either they're like, oh gosh, intensives would be so cool, but how would I even, who's even going to do that? How do I even connect with people who want them? Or the flip side, they're like, okay, I've done a lot of work. I'm getting things together, getting organized. I'm ready to do intensives, but where are the people who actually want this service. And so we want to make that connection point between the amazing offer that you have to share with people and the people who are out there who need it. And maybe, especially because intensives are not widely known about in the therapist community, or especially among our clients, maybe they might not even know yet that an intensive could be a really amazing experience for them. So let's talk about how marketing intensives is similar to marketing like therapy in your private practice. So you're probably not like totally in the dark, but also there's some nuances and some kind of like secret tips I can share with you. Okay. Oh, hey, I always say hello. I'm Stephanie, if we haven't officially met. Um, I'm here because I created the Intensive Design Lab, where I support therapists to launch and grow intensives in their private practice. And I love it, and it's so fun. I just want to do them all the time. And I love, love, love hearing when you and your clients have positive experiences with them as well. So let's get to it. I had this slide at the end, and then I was like, oh, this might actually be a good starting place. So I'm just going to say my story of how I grew my intensive offer. In 2022, I did 2 intensives. I had heard about them. I did some learning about them. I honestly did the first one because a client came to me and said, please, will you give me an intensive? And I'd been thinking about them for quite a while, a year plus, and really wanted to. But like most of us, I was busy. I had other things going on. I already had a full caseload. So when on earth was I supposed to figure out how to do this? So I wanted to do it. It was like on my heart list of things to do. But in terms of like my actual priorities and what I really had time for in real life, it was not at the top of the list until a client who was within some of my niches. So there were not a lot of therapists who specialize in what I specialize in, which is religious trauma, chronic illness, and neurodiversity affirming therapy. So you can imagine I'm kind of a unicorn for that particular concern. And she was out of state and said, please, I will travel to you. I want an intensive. So that's how I decided, I guess I need to learn what to do. And it was already in alignment too with what I wanted. So I did that one, and then just sort of casually started telling people about them, but I wasn't really, in a hurry. I just thought if I'll do a few posts here and there, or maybe like an email out and see. And I had somebody else also in a pretty unique situation. They travel internationally for work a lot and weren't able to access like ongoing therapy, at least not the way they wanted, while they were abroad. And so this particular person was home for a short period of time, maybe like a month or 2 months, and wanted to do an intensive for that reason. And so it was really just happenstance that I got started, but I loved it. Like you probably have heard me say a ton of times. And so after that, I was like, I should do this on purpose. I want to do this. So let me take action and take what I know about marketing and apply it to intensives and see what works and what doesn't work. And that's kind of what's driven this sort of presentation today. So I'm checking the chat. Beverly said, same. She had a client request an intensive and it got her thinking about how to move forward. Yes, real people asking is a good, easy motivator. And then Carrie says, I haven't had anyone ask me, but I'm interested. Combining it with money coaching too. Yeah. Audrey Shane's another good person to talk about that. We've been talking about what it would look like to offer like financial therapy intensives, especially for her group, like a niche of couples work. So anyway, yay. Okay, I love the encouragement in the chat. You all are amazing. So yes, as you can see, there was a my husband was looking at this and he's like, 2 to 12 doesn't sound like that much. And I was like, listen, it is one a month of an intensive. These weren't all 3-day intensives, but if you're saying, my 3 days are $5,000. So, 12 of those in a year is gonna increase my annual income like pretty significantly. At least, at least I felt like it did. So that's kind of at least a little bit about, where I've been and the results I've seen with some of these strategies. So, Carrie says it sounds like a lot to me too. He's in like the tech world, so he was like, it's like 600% higher. And I was like, that just sounds gross. So let's not do that. Okay, so my journey with marketing. I am assuming that you probably have had a similar trajectory, unless you're just like a PR person and you love like marketing just feels really good to you. But in the beginning, when I started in private practice, like I literally did not even consider that marketing would be something I would need to spend time on. I think that was just probably my own like naivety. Is that how you say that? I even was a part of like a practice development program that was like sort of a little incubator. And they were like, oh, we offer business coaching. And I was like, well, I mean, I guess I'll do that, but I don't really know that. Like, why would I need that? And fast forward now, like essentially that's what I offer to people because it's essential. It's so there's, there's so many business things in private practice. So I went from being like, I don't really need that to noticing, okay, I guess I do have to do some things in order for clients, like to have clients. And then I was like, this is gross and I don't like it. And I think it's disgusting. It feels like slimy and not in alignment with like this heart sort of giving of service mentality that brought me to therapy in the first place. So then I was like, eek, like not a good feeling. Yes, some people are saying they definitely have had that feeling too. Then, I'm realizing this would have been cool if I like unveiled the emojis as I went, but I'm not that tech savvy. Then I was like, okay, it seems decent idea to like help people find me. I'm not like exploiting them or like convincing them. I'm just literally making myself visible. I'm cool with that. So I was like, a website, obviously, like when I'm looking for a therapist, I wanted to see a good website that gave me like confidence that we're a good, I would actually want to sit in a room with them for an hour. And then like Psych Today. I was like, okay, yeah, that seems like a reasonable thing to do so that if someone wants to find me, they could. And then that went pretty well. And then I started understanding that having connections with other therapists in the community is really, really valuable when it comes to growing your practice. And my introverted self just wanted to curl up and die. I did not want to have any awkward conversations with people. I didn't want to have to like figure out what to say or do. I remember thinking like, well, I'll do my practice, but like without that part. And the funny thing is like now, and I don't really love the word networking either, but now that is one of the biggest way that I get intensive referrals is because of connections with other therapists. So ironic that I was like, I'll never do that. And now it's like the number one thing that I think is a huge game changer, especially, I mean, across the board, but especially for intensives. So, finally, what made me feel okay about doing all the things with marketing is seeing it as I'm just connecting. I'm connecting with potential clients. I'm connecting with other therapists. I'm connecting with, the dental hygienist that I go to, and she wants to tell me about trauma and why intensives are the best thing she's ever heard of, or my nurse practitioner or whoever else as I move through life. We're just connecting. And that made it feel so much more, can even like feel my body relaxing as I think about that, and like my tone slowing down. That just made it seem less yucky and phony and fake and just more from the heart. And that is what I'm all about. So, I'm talking about this journey, one, because I'm sure you can find yourself somewhere in there. And then two, like this reframe of connection, like that's the way that I approach marketing. That's the way we want to think about it when we're trying to connect and share with people about intensives. So let's keep rolling. And if you've joined in while I've been like chatting away, hi, I'm Stephanie. Feel free to drop a comment in to let me know you're here. And if you have any questions along the way, we can make this kind of casual and interactive. So I'm going to add this probably to every presentation I ever do, because many of us do not even know what an intensive is. And even after I knew what it was and I was doing it and I was inviting people to do intensives with me, I still had a really hard time figuring out my messaging, or the words I would say to explain to either clients or my therapist friends or other, referral sources about what they are. So I think practicing how we talk about it is really, really important, because if we can't say what an intensive is in like a clear, simple way, nobody's going to know what it is, and they're not going to remember to think like, oh, hey, you'd be a good fit for that, So this is kind of what I've settled on for right now. I have a couple different other wordings that I use here and there, but typically what I say is that a therapy intensive is an accelerated form of therapy that allows clients or allows you to feel better faster. And for therapists, I like to say, a therapy intensive is simply amplifying the work that you already do in your sessions, whether it's, like 50 minutes or 90 minutes, whatever. I guess I was just thinking about amplify being like a microphone. So it's putting it up, you're already doing something, and then it's just like expanding it out. So that little nugget of like therapeutic, deep healing work now can expand and become even greater. So, folks who are here, I know there's some folks in here who have done intensives. Let me know if that definition feels good to you, or if there's other words that you've used to share about what intensives are. If there's words that seem to resonate well with clients or resonate well with other therapists that you're sharing with. So the biggest gap in marketing is, one, just sharing with people what an intensive is. It's hard to want to do something you don't even know about. So that's the first part. And then understanding, what are the benefits? Why would someone do an intensive instead of just the traditional, typical, hour a week format of therapy? Like, why would we change it up? And so these are some of the things that I will say. And then depending on your niche or your specialty area, you can be even more specific. And I think when it comes to marketing or sharing about intensives, the specifics are what are the most powerful and the most compelling for people. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we keep going along. So I tend to work with folks who are dealing with trauma. And so I say, and this could apply really not just to a trauma specialty. I think it could apply to couples work. I think it could apply to like depression, anxiety, OCD, really a lot of different presenting issues. Intensives are helpful if you're dealing with something that has caused a major life disruption and you want help now. So for me, that could be like a trauma symptom where they're just having trouble like getting up, going to work, taking care of the kids, cleaning the house. But also depression can do that, anxiety can do that. Maybe there's been a huge loss in their life, or they're anticipating a loss. Maybe there's a major conflict in their relationship. There's a student in intensive design lab who specializes in betrayal trauma. So when there's been infidelity or a rupture of trust in a relationship, that's a great reason to do an intensive. That probably people don't want to just keep waking up and doing life and waiting for their next session a week away. They're probably motivated to say, no, I want to really like work on this now. This is painful for me to continue to exist week after week in between sessions. I'd rather, you know, contain a bunch of sessions in once and then see all the results of that. So the benefits, that's similar. It allows for uninterrupted therapy time. So really what you would experience in weeks or months of therapy is getting is possible for them in a shorter amount of time. And that's very appealing for clients. And it's also really, it's also really exciting and fulfilling for us as therapists. So long we can sit in sessions with people, and I was just talking to somebody about this, you are in a session and you're sort of like, it's taking time to warm up, and then 5 minutes before you feel like they got to this really deep place where you're like, oh gosh, like this is where the work is. And then it's like they're about to leave. And it's like, no, like we worked so hard to get to this point, and now I have to wait and see, like hope that we can access this again in a week. And it just feels like, why would we shut that down when it's so hard sometimes to get to that place? So that's another reason why intensives can be really helpful. Let me check the chat here. Ooh, Beverly with the good questions. I'm wondering how to pitch this to other therapists for referrals. I'm concerned that therapists may think I'm trying to take their clients for sure. And have you encountered this, and how do you address this concern? Yeah, we will for sure cover this, but I'll just say really quick. I'm very explicit in my oh gosh, marketing materials doesn't sound good. In the way that I communicate with other therapists, that I will not take your client on after an intensive. And so I think that really helps to just say it out. Like, obviously, that's the concern. It's awkward to ask for them to ask, but if I'm proactive to just say, like, my intensives, I do not transfer people into weekly therapy afterwards. What I'm doing is we're working on a very specific presenting concern, maybe something that came up during their therapy, or where they're just stuck and it's outside the scope of that therapist. And so they come to me for a very specific period of time for a very specific issue. We're going to work on that. And then I am sending them back to you. And I think a lot of therapists, that's appealing to them, because a lot of times, I mean, this has happened to me. I'm sure it's happened to you. I have clients that I really enjoy. I do not want to refer them out. I think there's still good work we can do together. We have a strong relationship. Maybe we've worked together for a long time. But there's something that keeps getting in the way, and I tried the things I know to try, and it just does not feel like it's moving. And so having an option where you could say, oh, hey, Beverly is actually a specialist in this particular thing, and she has an intensive that's a weekend. And so I think it would be wonderful for you to go to this intensive, break through this like block that we've been having, and then we'll continue working on whatever it is that we've been working on. And so that has been really powerful. therapists, that's in service to the therapist to like have that option to send clients to you. And then also clients who have a therapist that they know and who knows them, if that person is saying, I think this intensive is right for you, they're going to believe that and want to do it much more than someone who's just randomly searching the internet or who heard it from like their cousin or something else. Like if a therapist who knows you says, I think, look, I think this is a good next step, that's just going to hit in a really different place. So that has been a huge part of what has helped to grow intensives in my practice. Can you explain more about how you frame intensives as a benefit for the referring therapist? Okay, I think you posted that right before I talked. But yeah, essentially just saying if you have a client who's stuck, and you can't, and you're just they're stuck and you can't figure out how to get forward, something's come up that's outside your scope, but you still want to continue to work with them. Maybe it's a different issue. So the example I give a lot is there was a client I worked with who saw a therapist for eating disorders. And that, which is not my specialty. I do not have knowledge. It's not ethical for me to like treat someone with that. But they had a traumatic event occur during the therapy and it was very acute. And so they sent the client to me for an intensive and then returned to their primary therapist for just ongoing like maintenance of their stress, their eating disorder, like that sort of thing. So that's something that I have seen that has been really helpful where the therapist, they want help. You want something. It does not feel good when you're trying to help your client break through and you just feel stuck and you don't know what to do and you don't want to refer them out. Like this is actually really helpful for therapists. And my kind of thing I say is I think we're better together. When we can partner together, we can give clients the very best care. And so I do sort of even consult calls, those free like 15 minutes with the therapist. So we can talk about, what it would look like to partner together. So I think I kind of got pulled into a later part of the presentation, but we'll keep rolling through. Except I like all these questions. Amy, how do you explain to clients that you will not take them as a weekly client after doing an intensive? Is this something you tell them proactively? And how does that piece the work? Yeah, that's a good question. I do say it up front. And part of that is I just didn't have any space to take anyone else on. But you can certainly say, I'm available for this experience. And sometimes people will come back and do another intensive, and that's an option. But I say, like, this is the format of therapy that I feel most passionate about, that I think benefits clients the most. And so that's what I offer. I don't offer weekly therapy, or at the time that I did, I didn't have any, openings. I wasn't going to accept them as a client. I have heard from some therapists who work intensively that if clients have like attachment trauma, that can be a sensitive topic. So I think it's important to just talk about it up front really clearly and really transparently. And if it does bring up, some things, that could actually probably be some good content for therapy to talk about what it's bringing to the surface. Okay, let's keep rolling. And probably we've just talked about some of this naturally. So when you're sharing with clients, other therapists, other referral sources, whether that be like doctors, psychiatrists, naturopaths, like whoever it is, obviously we want to talk about the benefits. Covered a little bit of that on the last slide. And then as much as possible, talking about specifics. And so what I mean by that is most people who are starting to offer intensives for the very first time, you're gonna start with clients you already know who are already there with you. That's the easiest way to start anything, is with someone you're familiar with and you kind of already have a good lay of the land. You understand what their strengths are, what their areas of growth are, and what goals they have for themselves. And so when I was first starting to invite current clients to do intensives, I would be really specific. So I'd say, we've been working on, oh gosh, I don't even know. Probably should have thought of a client example. We've been working on your anger related to your children. I don't know. And how that relates to some of your early childhood trauma. So, and we've been doing that, maybe give a little summary of what you've worked on, in small increments across the few weeks. I'm now offering a new format of therapy, and I'd like to offer it to you since we already work together. And what I would like to use it for is to really focus deeply on X, Y, and Z. So the triggers you face when your child is not listening to you, or they're throwing things, or whatever it is. So I try to be really specific, like, this particular problem that's causing you distress and pain that you want to see change, that's what we're going to focus on. And through the intensive, my goal would be, or our goal would be, that we can bring you more, and then the transformation that they want to see. So in that example, it's a parent who's being triggered by their kids because it's triggering their own childhood trauma. So that when those things happen, you can feel more at peace, you can feel more grounded, centered, and be able to, react in the way that you want to be, the type of parent that you want to be. So, as you can probably guess, hearing something really, really specific like that is so different than just hearing, like, oh, well, you can come for 3 hours of therapy. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, gosh, okay. Who wants to do that? Instead, saying, like, I know that we've been working on this and we've made small wins, and there's this opportunity to get a bigger chunk of the work done. And this is the possibility of what I would want to see it do for you. So that is so helpful and so important. When I talk to therapists about this, now again, my niche is trauma, and this can sound different depending on the type of work you do. But when I talk to other therapists, I'm saying, do you have clients who are getting flashbacks, having nightmares, they feel really scared or unsafe? So I'm naming these like really disruptive trauma symptoms. Or I just say generally, like, they're stuck, and it's like, we're not able to move forward. We don't know exactly what is happening. Then that's a really great reason to refer a client for an EMDR intensive. And then they can return back to you to continue the work you've been doing together, kind of with new insights and a fresh perspective. If it's okay, this was in the group publicly, so I'm going to share it out. Amy is on the call. She's a student in the intensive design lab, and she offers IFS intensives. And so we were brainstorming how to talk with other therapists about why a client would want to do an IFS intensive. And I just thought that's such a cool opportunity to say that a lot of times clients do get stuck, and oftentimes a reason for that is that they have a protective part that's kind of blocking the process. And so an IFS intensive would be so helpful to get another therapist perspective, and really work with some of those protectors, or some of those parts of the client that might be, fearful of the work, or fearful of, quote, getting better, or just concerned in general, and might not be totally on board with the therapy that's happening. So that is Another example that's not trauma or like not EMDR related, at least, that could be a really cool way to talk about why do that type of intensive. And then examples, by that I meant kind of like examples of things that you've seen change. So now I've been doing intensives for a bit, and I can say pretty clearly, like, I've seen people have trauma triggers and then they feel more at peace. Or I've seen people struggling in their current relationship because of some toxic or dangerous or a bad breakup in the past. They were able to process through that, and now they're having deeper connection and more joy in their current relationship. So just giving some generic, not generic, but like, you're like not breaking confidentiality, but you're giving wider ideas of what an intensive can do for like an actual person, not just like we'll do more therapy, you know. Yes. Okay, let me check the chat. Anything coming in? Thoughts percolating? I will be looking. So how to share. I just went with the like what, when, how, why kind of thing. This is just really sort of an intro to marketing intensives. And I will say I'm super excited because I've been developing a more advanced training for marketing therapy intensives, which is going to be called the oh gosh, what is it? Intensives Marketing Master Plan or Master Class or something masterful. So keep your eyes out for that, especially if you're someone who started to do intensives. You kind of like you've got what you can with like your current clients, and now you're ready to really expand out. This is going to be a great training for you. Continuing on, how to share. So ideally with clients, especially, I would say face-to-face. Again, I'm an introvert. So in the beginning, I was like, I'll just send out an email and tell people I'm doing this now and whatever. And honestly, an email on its own didn't do very much for me. But when I would sit down and talk with people, either virtually or in person in a session, and I could really explain some specific reasons why I would want to do an intensive with them, that was a big game changer. So, practice your little spiel, say it out loud in the mirror if you're like shy like me, and really having that like face-to-face conversation can be great. And just giving people time to think about it and consider like, does that feel like something that you would be interested in? My philosophy is it's just another format of therapy. We're making it available and making it visible. And if it feels in alignment and it's what a client, is interested in, then we'll do it. And if not, that's totally fine too. So I feel like it's pretty obvious that you would want to share it like from a place of authenticity and just like sincerely, like I care for my clients. I want to see them get relief, to meet their goals, to move their life into the place where they want it to be. And so that's kind of like the spirit and energy that we want to have when we're sharing about this intensive, and how the intensive is just like another way to continue that transformation and hopefully speed it up. And then again, like those words of hope and that possibility for what the intensive can bring to the therapy process. Similarly, with sharing with other therapists or providers, same thing. I mean, I've been really surprised. I also expected people to be like, ooh, I don't like that. I don't want you to take my clients, blah, 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 like some of that scarcity or like competition mindset. But actually, I have gotten quite a bit of referrals from other EMDR therapists who, for whatever reason, they are not in a place to be offering intensives. Maybe it's just not a good time of life, or doesn't fit with their schedule, but they want that accelerated healing for their clients. So you just never know. Some people who you might think would never be an advocate or be in support of an intensive might be your biggest referral source. And then they tell other therapists, because therapists talk about everything. So it's almost like a domino. You share with one person, it just starts spreading and spreading. Okay. We talked about this a little bit already because it came up in the chat. How do therapy intensives serve other therapists? I love that idea. In marketing, we train our brain to think about how therapy is of service to our clients. And just a little like shift of that when you're thinking about sharing intensives with other therapists is, how is a therapy intensive going to serve the therapist? And truthfully, the things we talked about already, like you feel stuck. It feels so bad to be like, I want to help this client and what I'm trying isn't working. And just to say like, hey, we have all been there. Like we cannot know all the things. I know a lot about trauma, but I sure don't know a lot about a lot of other things. And so if there was going to be an intensive around, OCD or eating disorders or things I don't specialize in, I want my clients to have access to that. And for that to infuse like newness and life into our therapy relationship. So, yes, I think I already said more about that, but that's my vibe. Oops, I clicked off of this. Ooh, yeah, I'm going to offer EMDR and IFS intensives. Can't wait. Same here. That's what I offer. I love it. They're so powerful. When to share? Okay, so this has come up with the students in intensive design lab. So obviously you can share whenever you are ready to, if intensives are new to you and you figured out all the logistics and you're ready to roll, then it's a great idea to just send an email or start to have conversations with your current clients. And I do have a freebie that I can drop the link. It's a script of how to share, how to invite current clients to consider an intensive with you. And so that's a great when you have a new offer. So just sharing with your therapy friends, your clients, other colleagues, like, hey, I have this new offer. Let me tell you about it. And just some of that excitement when you're first starting out. Something that a lot of the students have tried is sharing about intensives when someone reaches out initially just for typical therapy. I'm thinking of someone in particular, Misty. She offers couples therapy. She had someone reach out for just weekly couples therapy, and she said, hey, yeah, I have that available. I also have this intensive. This is how it works. Would you be interested? And the person was like, yes, I prefer an intensive over weekly therapy. So just get in the habit of sharing it up front as an option. Other folks have said, no, I don't have openings for weekly, or I have a wait list. But if you'd like to jump the wait list and get in quicker, I have intensive spots available. So that's another way to kind of frame it. When people are initially reaching out to you. And again, most people don't know what an intensive is anyway. So it's a great opportunity to say, hey, this is also available. And if you can get them in earlier, if you have intensive spots open more quickly, then that's a huge benefit too, honestly. I think the best way that I've shared is just when I'm doing my like typical coffee date meetups with other therapists. Maybe it's someone I'm meeting for the first time or someone I've known for a while. We're just chatting about what's happening in our practices, supporting each other. And then, they ask, what's new with me? Hey, I started intensives. It's actually been really cool. This is what I'm seeing. And that's a really great way to just have that point of connection around intensives. And then, of course, the local I'll say this, the local therapist groups. So the therapist groups that are where you are licensed are really, really good places to share. You can just do like an announcing post, like I'm now offering intensives. And then also, something that I've gotten into the habit of doing is when people are saying, oh, I'm searching for a therapist who can do this, they're not going to say I'm searching for an intensive. So you can look for posts, again, for me, it's trauma. So someone who's dealing with this, and this, I'll just say, hey, I offer an intensive for that. I have an intensive website page that I'll link. And then I've also created little like 2-minute videos about each of my niche areas. So say this happened recently, they were looking for a therapist because there was a traumatic loss. And I could just link my quick little video that explains what's an intensive and how can it help someone who's dealing with traumatic loss. And that just really helps to bridge the gap. Because what is an intensive and how can it help? People just don't know. So just get in the habit of sharing about it whenever there is an opportunity. Okay, Beverly says, yes, I would love a script on how to share. Perfect. I will share the link. It's my website, Kaleidoscope Counseling, STL. That's for St. Louis, where I am. STL.com//freebies. And I'll link it below when we're done here. Okay, we're nearly there. Y'all are troopers for hanging on this long. Where to share. So again, I think face-to-face is always the best, even if your introvert part or socially awkward part is like, no. It's just important. And then we already talked about this, but doing emails to clients, colleagues, and other referral sources to let them know you're just sharing information about what's available. And then in the Facebook groups. This is kind of like the next level of sharing. Like those are the first like low hanging fruit, but the ones that take a little bit more time, energy, investment, would be to add a page to your website, to add something on your online directories about intensives, to add it to your Google My Business listing, and then lots of really cool opportunities to create video content or blogs around intensives. And, those, particularly YouTube and blogs, also will help your SEO. So it's pretty easy to rank for an intensive page in Google because not many people do it. So if you want, in fact, I think that's how my EMDR pages started to rank on page 1 of searches in my area, is because my intensive page would come up. So that's a really, really good opportunity to create a SEO optimized and client-friendly website page for your intensive. And I'll put a little plug, if you don't have time to write it, that's a service I offer in my Done For You copywriting. Why share? Because you care about your clients and you just truly, truly want to see people like reach their goals, feel better faster, return to the good things of life. And again, because people deserve to have options and choice about their healthcare, about the way that it's delivered to them, and the format that they want. So we're not trying to tell people intensives are I do think they're the best, but I'm not out there telling that to clients. I'm just saying, hey, this is another option. It's really powerful. We can talk about what that might look like for you. And the last thing is on that same freebie page that I will link in here, I have a free checklist for marketing intensive. So it talks about all the things that we talked about today and even more. please don't feel stressed like you have to do all the things. It's it's not necessary. Just maybe highlight a few that feel not terrible to you and get started there. When I was starting to network and market myself, in the beginning, I had a master list and then I would pick like two or three and say, okay, in this month, when I have admin time or someone cancels, I'm going to do these two tasks. And that way it's not like you're thinking, oh my gosh, I have these 20 things that I haven't gotten to and blah, blah, blah. Like, no, that's not what it is. This is like if you're not trying to like accelerate intensives in your practice immediately, it can just be your rainy day list. Like, this is something I can do when I happen to have time and I'm in the mood to grow my practice and make my offer more visible. So that is it. This is our intro or our primer to marketing intensives. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me see. I'm reading comments. Beverly says, want to hear more about copywriting? Ooh, I will tell you about that. Carrie says about pricing. Yeah, we did a whole money training last week that I can tag you in. Beverly, you're simply a badass for offering all this free information. And my energy is motivating. Thank you. Well, I think it's we're better together. We should support each other. This is life-changing for therapists. This is life-changing for clients. So I think everybody should know about it. And then the real fun thing is when people join, the programs or the coaching cohorts, and we get to work together even more closely to make it come to life in your practice. That is the fun part for me. This is what I love to do. And there's no way I could be doing a live training in the middle of the day if I wasn't offering intensives. I would be meeting clients right now. Yeah. Okay. I think that is all the questions. If you are catching the replay, go ahead and drop #replay and please ask any questions or give any comments that you have along the way. I will be checking the chat. And so it's not too late if you're watching this later today or even a year from now. I will keep my eyes open and jump in there. So I think that's it. We did it. Everybody, have a great day. I think it's Wednesday. Take care. It's beautiful weather here. Get out and get some fresh air and just care for your little soul. Bye.